What's going on, guys? My name is Eclihpse, and today we will be going over the top 5 most scumbag cards in Clash Royale. So this video is pretty much going to be ranging from number 5 being a semi-scumbag card, and then basically if you use the number 1 card, then your parents might disown you and your friends might kick you out of your lunch table. Let's begin. Coming into the number 5 spot, this is going to be the Pekka. Now I do agree the Pekka is slow and he is quite expensive, so that's obviously a flaw, but when he hits towers, he destroys towers. He can basically take out an arena tower from anywhere in 3 to 4 hits, and not to mention he is strong as hell. Overall, the Pekka is pretty much just a pain in the ass to deal with, and when used with a mirror, it's pretty much a nightmare. Moving on over to the number 4 spot, I don't actually have one card, but 2 cards specifically, and both of these cards fall under the spell category. Now the first card being the freeze spell, and I'm pretty sure most of you know this, but just in case you don't have the freeze spell in Clash Royale lasts over 5 seconds, and it can completely ruin a push. Most people will send a hog in and then freeze the enemy tower as they try to counter it, and then in one case, some asshole actually used a goblin barrel, and then after I used my arrows to counter it, he mirrored another goblin barrel, and then he froze my counter troops. So basically the free spell is literally one of the worst things in the game. Sure, it's cheap, and sure, like, you know, it can be used efficiently, but just in the cases I've had with it, it has pissed me off more than helped out. And then the other spell we have is the rocket. The rocket is mainly used in combination with defense spam decks, and I've seen people win by only using the rocket. The card alone is absolutely horrendous, and although it might cost 6 elixir, it pisses me off nonetheless. Moving on to the number 3 spot. Now, similar to the number 4 spot, I won't just have one card to fill this. I'm actually going to be talking about a few cards, and all of these cards fit under the defense category. So the first defense we will be talking about is the cannon. The cannon is pretty much like not the worst defense in the game. Sure, it's cheap and it can be a great counter for troops like hogs, but the attack radius on the cannon is relatively low, and a musketeer can actually outshoot a cannon. So in case you didn't know that, if you place a musketeer down, it can actually shoot a cannon without the cannon actually shooting her back. Moving on over to the Tesla, most people will just put this card dead center, and it literally will counter every single troop from every angle, and it's a pain in the ass to deal with. I know I said the other troops were a pain in the ass, but literally everything on this countdown is pretty much a pain in the ass, so just bear with me. The next defense after that is the bomber, and the bomber will literally melt any low hit point unit, even if you have barbarians. Those aren't low hit point units, but the bomber just finds a way to melt like every single unit, I feel like, and the bomber pisses me off probably more than any of the defenses in this category. Now the last 2 defenses are the mortar and inferno tower, and generally I don't see these too often, but I figured I would just mention them because they have screwed me over in the past. But for the most part, the cannon, Tesla, and bomber seem to take the crown for the number 3 spot, and most times I'll find myself doing full pushes just to try and destroy defenses, and sometimes I go for defenses over towers just because they're such a burden. Moving on over to the number 2 spot, we are going to be talking about the spawner decks, more specifically, however, the Barbarian Hut and the Goblin Hut combo. This has to be the worst combo in the game, and the lower you are in trophies, the bigger an issue this is for you. So if you're a noob, when you first get the game, one of the first decks that is going to piss you off is going to be a spawner deck. But as you gain trophies, less and less people use this, so it's not as effective like for me anymore. But for example, I know a lot of low-level players really hate this combo, and it seems like this is probably one of the most hated decks in the game. And then moving on over to the number 1 spot, if you guys noticed when I went through my defenses, I didn't mention the X-Bow, and that's because it takes the number 1 spot. I'm pretty sure the X-Bow is everyone's least favorite card in the game. Personally, I don't think it's too big of a deal, but it's insane. Like, a lot of people use it. It literally takes like no skill to use, and it just pisses every single person in the community off. Now, the other day I was watching a Twitch stream, and this guy found 7 people in a row using X-Bows above 3,500 trophies. literally everyone is using an Expo to gain trophies because it takes no skill to win and it is very hard to counter in most cases. The card itself is literally AIDS and it is just a pain to deal with. I have not found one person who has said they love going against Expos. Most of the times they just complain, and if you look at Chief Pat and MOST's Twitters, all they do is complain about the Expo, and personally, I think it's funny about all the drama it's causing. And for anyone curious, Clash Royale actually tweeted at Chief Pat and said they are not nerfing it. That is right, the Expo is going to remain the same, so if it's screwing you over, either use an Expo in return or learn how to counter it. So guys, this has been Eclihpse. Hopefully you enjoyed today's top 5 most scumbag cards in Clash Royale. In the comments below, let me know what cards piss you off the most. If any of the cards in the countdown piss you off, let me know. Or if I missed any cards, just feel free to let me know as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, found it funny, found it interesting, found it unique, or whatever, if you guys liked the video at all, please give the video a like below. And again, for the 100,000th time, this has been Eclihpse, and peace out.